Hey everyone, this is Tano, and this is going to be the video reflection part of my website. Just wanted to say in advance, thank you guys for checking out the website and kind of taking a look at my project and the somewhat kind of not real success that it was. But that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this section. As far as next steps, right now, I don't have any idea as to what those are going to be. A lot of the schools in our area are getting close to winter break. So it's possible that we could see a return of students into the classroom coming back from that. I know they've talked about that. They've been working towards moving towards those steps, and they even started doing that a few weeks ago, which is part of the reason that my project kind of came to a halt. Is the current government was like, hey, we're doing our best to try and fight for getting students back in the classroom, this and that. And so for a while, I was unsure if, our students coming back, our students not coming back, and kind of how that all was going to work out. So for me, that kind of put a big freeze on everything, because obviously if students go back into the classroom and whatnot, there's not really a need for mobile hotspots. But that being said, it was kind of a big unknown, and we still don't know. We probably won't know until around the 14th. So that was like the biggest thing. Another setback that I had, obviously, if I was to complete this, would be funding. I didn't really have any money to put towards it. That would have had to been something that the school and an internet provider would have had to come to an agreement. And obviously it costs a lot of money to have internet for running all the time for students, especially when, if somebody's not continuously paying for it, the internet company is losing out on money that they can be making and that kind of thing. So those were kind of the two big things. And like I mentioned in one of my sections, like this project wouldn't have even been a thought to me. I probably would have picked something else if it hadn't been for COVID. But there were lots of different areas that struggled with getting students access to the internet so that they could even participate, because there were lots, especially in Eastern Washington and Spokane, they were having a really big issue with that. As far as what I would have done differently, I think I would have liked to have maybe like a second person work alongside me, maybe bounce some ideas off of, or find a way that I could even create a hotspot for students via my own internet plan, or something like that. Just trying to generate other ideas, because the one I had was a good one, but it was kind of like going for top of the line. Kind of had to be perfect timing, perfect planning, and obviously like this wasn't something that has been working on for a long time. It was like, this is my idea, this is what I want to do, how do I work towards that? And so I think having like a second person to help maybe like push these ideas and kind of get some feedback from schools or companies that might want to partner, doing that kind of stuff. As far as my project and kind of my views, just closing it out, I would say that it is something that needs to be looked at, especially if online learning is going to be, the new future. It's hard to have students in the classroom all the time and still expect them to have these capabilities outside of school. One of the books that I read in a class, I think it was a few semesters ago, talked about technology is a gift for education. It's not required. But if you're not requiring it, then it's hard to, ask students to have those things outside of the classroom. And so kind of finding that balance. But I do think that technology is very helpful when it comes to education. It's becoming bigger than I think a lot of people even realize. And I think moving forward, we're going to see a lot more of it, and potentially even, online learning from home like kids are doing now. The only issue with that is, online learning doesn't always fit everybody's learning style. It's not for everyone. And I think we'll kind of see a combatants between the two. So, as far as like getting students, if you are going to require online learning, there has to be some give as to how you're going to support those students that don't have the access. And I think that wasn't quite all the way there. I know that as time went on, they started to realize like, hey, there's students that don't have these accessibilities. How do we reach out to them? How do we get them what they need? But that has to be something that is thought before that goes into action, because those kids now have missed, however long it takes for them to get access. So I do think it's something that is important to touch upon, especially with the way the technology is advancing and how we're seeing it used in education. So that was kind of my little reflection. I think it was a great project. I'm sure there's lots of people that had success. I wouldn't say that mine was a complete failure, but it's tough when, especially with the pandemic, and there's teachers that don't know what's going on and staff that don't know what's going on. The school districts have to make a lot of tough decisions while following within the health guidelines. So it's kind of like all over the place, and I think it's a little chaotic for everybody, but I think in the end it was still something interesting to kind of get an idea on and see how it could potentially play in the future. So thank you guys.